Hi guys, this is John
and Austin,
and we have another episode of the Meatgistics podcast. And it is sort of a special podcast.
It's always a special podcast.
Well, you usually say it's not a special episode when we don't have a guest.
I guess that's true.
We sort of have a guest.
I'm a kind of a guest at this point.
It has been a while since you've been on.
Yeah.
So, been a busy time. We are going to talk about making venison snack sticks today. We're going to talk about this ridiculously awesome charcuterie chalet.
I don't even know what that word is.
Chalet?
No.
Of course you do. It's
Chalet?
like a snow or like a skier's chalet. Like it's How do you not know what a chalet is?
You have no idea. And you're still not helping.
Maybe it's a Northeastern thing. Actually, no, I think it's a European thing. Like a Swiss chalet. It's
I'm American.
like a comfy little home that's like right on or off of like a ski trail.
Okay.
Mountain.
I gotcha.
That's what it is. But yeah, so first thing is first, let's talk about these snack sticks. There are a couple different things going on here. So for listeners of the podcast who listened last week, Austin Smith was nice enough to bring in a deer of his. And we had Kurt Ratzliff from BHA, who's been on the podcast a bunch of times, come on over and break it down, do some basic butchery. We shot all of it, recorded great audio. So that should be out around the time of this one's release. If it's not already out, look for that on our YouTube channel. If it is already out, then find it. We're going to do it a couple different ways. We're going to release the entire thing from soup to nuts, which will be about an hour. Then we're going to break it down into if people are looking for what to, how to quarter, how to, just basically break it down. If they want to know all the different roasts and cuts, we went over that too. So my recommendation for people who are doing this for the first time really is take the back straps out and grind the rest.
Yeah. That's you've got to take the back straps out.
Yeah.
But everything else could be ground up and made into something different. But
yeah,
I think people are going to love that video. I think people have been asking for something like that for a while.
Yeah.
So to get that whole thing, I think it's awesome. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, so I'm even excited to see what comes out here.
It was a strange amount of work. Like nothing was terribly difficult, but like getting all the pieces together. And then Austin Smith, who's the guy who was on the podcast last week, called me that Sunday. He's like, "Hey, just want to let you know, we got this deer. It's like I got it early in the day. Do I have to turn and burn and get another one? Do you need a certain time or certain kind?" And I'm like, "Austin, please tell me you're not talking about tomorrow." He's like, "Yeah." Like, we're doing this on the 16th. And he's like, "Today's the 15th. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so out of it." So out of it. Too many things going on. But yeah, pulled it off. I think it went really well. But these two outside ones are the deer. Now, we did them two different ways. This is a 50-50 mix of untrimmed pork butts and the venison. This is 25%, I think I did. Nope, I did 20%. I wanted to try it on the leaner side. 20% venison, or 80% venison, 20% pork fat.
Cool.
So try them both and see if you can tell a difference.
I'm glad you didn't make me do this blind.
Yeah, well, that'd be impossible. The first thing I'll say is, if you're doing venison, Willie's is the way to go. It's got a little bit of black pepper heat, which is real nice, works good with the venison. Encapsulated citric acid is also another nice thing to add in there. Increases its shelf life, and gives it that nice tang. Plus, you can go right from stuffing to smoking.
Yeah.
All right. Could you tell a difference?
To be honest, not really.
Right. Same.
I think it's pretty much the same end game there.
So my recommendation then is for deer hunters, save your pork fat for something better. Just mix it 50-50 with untrimmed butts.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you have easier access to, because I know some guys have a hard time getting their hands on pork fat, just straight pork fat.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't, just use pork butts. But if you have a ton of pork fat, I'd go either way on it.
Yeah. So when we did goose pepperoni here, we did kind of the same thing. We did some that were 50-50 and some that we did with 20% pork fat. The ones we did with 20% pork fat were so much better than the other ones. It wasn't even remotely close. And I've said this numerous times on Meatgistics. With deer, it doesn't get as much overridden by the pork, the untrimmed butt.
Yeah.
It fights back. It's got enough taste of its own. So yeah, I would say go with untrimmed butts if you have the choice between them, because you're going to end up with more snack sticks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'd agree.
And then another thing we did was took Willie's, and we're going to try this a couple of different ways. This is the first one. People have been adding jalapenos for, however long, forever, to snack sticks. We took Willie's, we took jalapenos, and I added mustard seed. Now, the amount of mustard seed I was told to add seemed ridiculous at the time, but my next batch I am going to add. So it's 10 tablespoons to a 25-pound batch, and that seemed ridiculous. But I don't think it was, because I've had multiple bites of this and I've seen one mustard seed so far. So definitely should have added more. But this also has pickled jalapenos that I chopped up and then let dry on one of the 3-tier jerky racks.
Yeah.
I let it dry for like an hour and a half. And then I just chopped them up real fine, added them in. First, we do need to talk about the difference in the bite, the texture, the everything between pork and venison. It's night and day.
Texture definitely different. I don't know if it's the right word, but creamier.
Yeah. Yep, that is the right word. Pork fat is creamy. No, look right there. There's a mustard seed.
Oh, there's two. There's two in there.
Oh, well, then I have to have that bite.
That's good though. I want to say I pick up more of the jalapeno flavor than normal.
Yeah. Well, that's Willie's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just comparing to, I want to say we have a jalapeno snack stick, but really I'm thinking to like the jalapeno summer sausage.
Okay.
Even like when I make jalapeno summer sausage, I want more jalapenos in it because it's not jalapeno-y enough for me.
Sure.
But I don't know. Why are we asking me? I overseason everything. So to the normal person, that's probably fine. But I will have to. I'll have to do that on the next batch stuff I make, because it's different. It's good. I almost would kind of expect to have a problem using the pickled jalapenos with like the bind and whatnot.
That's why
there.
I did it.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks fine. The mouth feel, love that mouth feel.
Oh yeah,
don't you love mouth feel, John? No, it seems good. So I don't think it affected kind of the structure of the snack stick at all.
It absolutely didn't. I mean, it's a perfect look inside. Yeah. Now, part of that probably is I did that with our new Walton's 22 grinder, and that's got to be part of the reason why it just so perfectly ground and bound.
Yeah.
I hooked it up to the 50-pound meat mixer and I let it do all the work. The only downside to that is if you're doing that, don't put your bowls on top of the grinder and then turn it on and then stop paying attention to things. Because I broke 2 bowls today. I was here super early. I was trying to videotape it as I was doing it. So I'm up there I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video if you watch the footage, Patrick, but I'm standing on this little step ladder we have right next to it down, and you can hear it shatter, and I kind of jump a little bit. And for anyone who doesn't watch a lot of our stuff, we just bought a brand new camera that's super expensive, and that's the one I had. So I was more than a little bit nervous.
Paranoid that you broke a multi-$1,000 camera?
Well, no, I was just paranoid that I would it was startled me and then I was going to drop it. But so we are also going to do some with pepper, the jalapeno pepper flakes, and then with just fresh. And I think with the fresh, we're going to have to blanch them. I think so.
I don't know.
But I can't stop eating these.
On the fresh, you might be fine, especially if the pickled ones ended up okay. You didn't put the pickle juice in it, did you? And you dehydrated it, so you dried off a bunch of it.
I didn't dehydrate it. So I took the 3-tier jerky rack. I put that out.
Oh.
I let them sit on top of it, and I let them sit there for like an hour and something.
Okay, when you said jerky rack, for some reason I thought you put it in a dehydrator or something. Okay, still, I don't know.
So when in the past, I kind of started to change my idea on this about, I don't know, in the last year or so, as I just hear of more and more people using the pickled. I'd always thought that it was going to short out the emulsion and give you bind problems, or react badly with the cure. I don't know why I thought that. I just did. But I mean, that's got a nice pink color throughout. There's really nothing wrong with it.
To an extent, adding something acidic into a meat product is going to screw up the texture. That's why in like chorizo, you add vinegar. Yep. It helps keep the chorizo crumbly. Yeah. If you're using encapsulated citric acid in a product and you break those capsules by grinding it, letting it sit in a refrigerator for a few days and they dissolve, something like that, that will end up denaturing proteins and doing some bad stuff to it. But just the littlest bit, like you didn't dehydrate the jalapenos, but you at least let them sit out and they kind of dried off a little bit. I assume you're not adding that much extra acidity to it that it's not going to affect it too much. But if you were going to add a lot, and I've heard some people saying, hey, what if I just pour the whole jar in? Like, you don't want to pour a jar of jalapenos in with the liquid in there. That is going to screw up your product. Yeah. But I think the way you did it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. We did this. There's a guy who comes into our retail store here and was talking to Colton, and he does this. Like he's the one who gave me the entire recipe. He does all these other extra steps and stuff. But he gave us these Willie snack sticks where I bit into it and I was like, that's amazing. Like, I had not had Willie's really with anything other than maybe we've added some extra black pepper a time or two, but Willie's is the best all around seasoning. And it turns out it might be the best base.
Yeah.
I'm going to try some weird stuff with Willie's. We're going to get weird with it.
That scares me.
Yeah.
But
probably should scare you a little bit. But yeah. So obviously the big news, you've heard it by now because they're out as we're recording this. But the grinders came in. Thank God.
They're pretty sweet.
They are.
And we finally have grinders to sell again. Like, I was feeling bad for some of our customers that just they literally needed something for a grinder, and we had nothing. A lot of people, had nothing. There's been a big issue with supply chain stuff through everything across the country. There's been a shortage on a lot of different products, grinders and some equipment for us for sure. So finally to have them, I'm pumped.
Yeah, we had Cabela's 90 on Meatgistics. Mm-hmm. Somebody was asking a question about why they weren't seeing as much of a particular pork product, and he did a nice quick breakdown on the reasoning. But that got me thinking, like, all right, if we do some sort of shutdown again, are we going to be right back into beef prices skyrocketing?
Yeah. They're commodities. It's going to go up and down with the market. Yeah, you see any hiccup like that, and you're gonna feel it across the food industry for sure.
Yeah, I was done with that.
I'd like to be done with it all.
Sanitizers been out at Dillon's for the last 3 times I've gone. The wipes, they're gone again.
Really?
So I guess we're going right back into it.
I think we still have sanitizer here.
Yeah, we got the spray sanitizer.
The spray stuff.
But it doesn't kill the COVID.
No, you could use the alcohol-based stuff.
Oh, that stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's more expensive.
I'm not concerned. I just want something that like I can wipe down my toilet and countertop with. That's all I care about. Like, I'm not nervous of, well, whatever. All right. So the other obvious thing we have is this gorgeous charcuterie chalet.
It is pretty good looking. I have some complaints with it.
Go ahead.
You used the wrong type of cheese on it. There is
no. That cream cheese is like the bind. It's holding it together. Because I know you're not complaining about Swiss. That's
no. The only thing I can focus on right now is there's a large chunk of Swiss cheese right in front, and it's bothering me.
You can eat it.
I don't want to eat it.
Of course you do.
It's the worst cheese there is.
You're just saying that to annoy me. That's absolutely ridiculous. See, like this even has whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but
rosemary.
It does look cool.
Rosemary.
Okay.
Made rosemary trees. Check on our social media channels. This weekend is some charcuterie board thing. So
I am going to try the Swiss cheese because it's been a while. Yeah, and I still don't like it.
I'll eat it. What don't you like about that taste? Is it too good?
One, a lack of taste to start. It starts out with like not much of a taste, and then it kind of develops a taste and then leaves just a gross aftertaste in your mouth.
I hate you so much right now. Like this is the thing you've done to most annoy me in the 5 years of our friendship. Like this cheese.
I don't. No, I don't.
I'm angry.
I love cheese. I eat way too much cheese. Every time I go to the store with my wife, like I have to go down the fancy cheese aisle and like I'm looking, okay, what do they have cut off? Because I don't want to buy like an enormous amount, but they always have like little bits of stuff. And especially if something's on sale, I'm like, well, that's on sale. I have to buy it. I'm saving money by buying it. Always end up getting cheese. Love everything except Swiss. I've hated Swiss my whole life, and it's never grown on me.
So quick funny story. When we were doing the live stream and we gave away the Weston grinder when we weren't expecting to.
Yeah.
The person who won that, their son had literally just checked out a number 12. So she was like trying to hide it from him, like to give it to him as a gift. Because we said, I mean, this is going to make a wonderful gift for somebody. But he called up our customer service department. They were nice enough to let him cancel it. And then he didn't see, like it kept saying processing when he looked into it. And he emailed in, he just, wanted to make sure. So, I double checked. I was like, yep, you're all good. You should have your refund. He sent me some beer. And he said, you like stouts and porters, right? I was like, oh, yes, I do. And then he sent in some Grand Cru cheese that didn't make it out of our department. Like, it was like, bonk, chowing on that stuff. It was awesome. Absolutely amazing.
So what is the reasoning behind our little meat gingerbread house thing?
So we wanted to make a charcuterie board for a while. I mean, it fits in well with what we do. It's also a good time of year for charcuterie, as is evidence. One of these, I think Saturday is National Charcuterie Board Day.
Really? Which
is so ridiculous. Do we really need a charcuterie board day?
There's a day for everything nowadays.
Idiotic.
I don't know. It's a marketing scheme. Everybody wants their piece of something.
Can we have a National Walton's Day?
Sure.
All right. What day would that be? Oh, no. July 26th. The anniversary of when I started.
No.
That's definitely it.
No.
Everybody, January 26th or July 26th is Walton's Day.
I think it should be like May, probably, and maybe like the 5th of May. That sounds like a good day.
So May the 5th be with you. That's already a day. I can't have two things.
Okay.
We're going to get overrun there. But no, so we went ahead and we've got some salami, some pepperoni. Then we've got these breadsticks, which I initially thought tasted like nothing, but it turns out they're very addicting to eat. So London, who does all our social media, had to hide all the pretzels and the breadsticks from me because I was eating them. And we did some rosemary with the cheese. Everything is glued on there with cream cheese. And
that one's down.
Oh, well, I mean, we can start eating it, start picking it off. Just save a couple of pieces of pepperoni for Patrick. You have no idea how happy he was when he tasted this, because apparently it tastes exactly like Sbarro's pepperoni. And he, I guess, has a big thing for that.
Interesting. Oh man, that just
That's all right.
Kills me.
That's what it's for. What?
No, I thought the inside was going to be filled.
Oh no, with what?
It's just foam.
Yes. We thought the inside was refilled with what?
Cream cheese, maybe. I don't know.
That would be a lot of cream cheese.
Oh yeah,
that'd be very, very. No,
remember I said I love
cream
cheese.
Very, very cheap. But so I've put about 110 pounds ish through that 22. Awesome. Does an absolute great job. That works with the Specco plates, with our plates, obviously, surprisingly, with the plates it came with. Who would have imagined? And knives. The best results I had was on the pork, and it was cold, right? Like it was super cold. It didn't just come out of the fridge, but it certainly wasn't frozen. Like I often like to, one of my favorite things to do, especially with wild game, is I'll break them down into medium-ish sizes, too big to fit down a grinder. Then I freeze them, and I like to create a really long vacuum bag. It's a great way to do it. I know it sounds weird, but you create a long, thin bag out of a roll, stuff that all in there, freeze it up, let it sit out in the fridge overnight, and then take a serrated knife and cut it up into little chunks that'll fit down the throat of it, spits it right out. This wasn't quite that cold. Maybe had started to get some air or ice crystals on it, but that thing chugged right through it. And the 1/8 plate, it did awesome with that too. Then we took it to my house. We shot a commercial for it, and that was fridge temperature. Like we cut it up, put it through the 3/8, put it back through with the 1/8 plate. And initially we had a problem. I put way too much down the throat, and it was just like getting mashed up on the auger before it got down there. I cleared it. I started watching it from above, and I just put some down, which is what I always tell people to do. Yeah. Put some down, let it clear, put some down, and it just went right through. Absolutely great.
Honestly, there is a science to how you load or feed a grinder.
Yep.
Like if you feed it at the rate that it is accepting it into the auger, I know that sounds kind of funky. I don't know how better to describe it, but it will go faster. If you just try to load it up, it won't go as fast as if you put it in there, you're watching it, and you're putting the meat in that it needs at that time, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And that's what I tell people to do all the time. Like the goal is really to not use your stomper.
Oh yeah, like if you're using a stomper,
want to use that. Like if you put something really cold down there, you need to push it so that the auger can grab it the first time. Or if sometimes, especially on your second grind, something will happen and it'll get trapped right above the auger. So you gotta like push it down into the auger.
Just like I think it's like an air pocket or something that'll kind of hold it up.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's really all you should use the stomper for. At my house, to look down into the auger, I had to get up on the table to look down. I'm not tall enough.
I wish I'd have been there now.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I looked over at Patrick. I'm like, do I have to get down for you to film this? He's like, yeah, we don't want that. But no, super excited. Hooked up, did beautifully with the 50-pounder. I mean, absolutely awesome. I do have an answer to the question of what is the smallest batch that the 50-pound grinder or mixer will deal with. And it is, I think we said 12.5 pounds last time. Yeah, it will not do 10. Just won't do it.
Okay.
I tried. I kept pushing everything into the side with my paddle scraper, but it didn't have enough to get it going. Now on that
12.5 pounds sounds good to me though, because it's a half batch from a seasoning unit. And if you're going to do less, I mean, you'd be better off with a 20-pound mixer anyways.
Right. Well, yeah, for sure. I was thinking about doing it by hand, but the venison was super cold. Like I was going to do this all yesterday, but when I went to the fridge to check the venison, it was hard as a rock. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing this today, obviously. But yeah, absolutely just did a great job. Hooked up to it, no problem. I was really, really super pleased using Walton stuff from beginning to end. That felt pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the first time we've been able to do that is use our own products through the entire deal. What
and I did it.
Oh, and you did.
I was the first one to go from beginning to end with Walton's equipment.
Very nice. I do have one major issue that I really dislike about the new grinders that I haven't told you about yet.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it. You won't guess it though.
They're so mirror shined that they pick up when you're trying to film them.
No.
That would be mine.
No.
It's very difficult to film them because you see, like, you're obviously visible if you're doing it from the side.
Yeah.
What is it?
The logo on it is not big enough.
And it's just like, here, Walton's.
It is cool though. Like I should know because I talked to who manufactured them for us and what they were going to do to put the logo on there. And I don't remember exactly what they did.
It's like laser etched.
It looks laser etched, I want to say, but I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it's super cool. It's just, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, that needs to be bigger. So I'm going to talk to them and see if they can do something bigger on it. But I love that. I think it's cooler than a sticker on it. It's, I think better in a sense than how the stuffers are, although I like the stuffers. Stuffers are done just a little bit differently, but they seem to kind of wear over time. They do
eventually. Yep.
I'm hoping the grinder one won't wear as much over time, but it's not as noticeable anyways. It's kind of hidden in there. We're not putting a huge orange W on the side, although that would be
That'd
sweet.
be awesome.
But
yeah, we need to get a big orange W or stickers. Maybe we'll just get some stickers and sell them for very small amounts. People can advertise for us while you're making your meat. Speaking of other Walton's equipment, with this shipment, we got numerous things to test. The most important thing, I think, for us to test, they sent us quite a few different styles of vacuum sealers. Yeah. We've got both chambered and chamberless. Talk quickly about the chambered one first. That's the one that people more advanced are going to use. The advantage of a chambered machine, the whole bag goes in the machine. It then pumps all the air out, seals the bag, and reintroduces air to the chamber, which pushes down, there's no air left in there. The bags for that are a fraction of the cost because they can be smooth plastic on both sides. The chamberless machine, which is the style where just the opening of the bag goes in, a pump then pulls all the air out of the bag. Those have to have a texture on at least one side to give the air something to grip, for just lack of a better term.
A tiny channel for the air to run through.
Right, for some way for it to come out. Otherwise, it would just go flat near the chamber and the rest of it would still have a bunch of air in it. I did order one chamberless machine that works with chambered bags. How it does that is you put the bag into the opening, a little nozzle, kind of flat nozzle, comes out and then sucks the air out of the bag. It worked surprisingly well. The problem is your food or whatever you're sealing has to be all the way up, almost touching that nozzle, because you run into the same problem. If you have it far back, it'll do the same thing. It just closes the bag near that, and then it doesn't do it back there. So when I saw that, when somebody emailed me like, hey, would you be interested in this? I was like, oh, yes, I would. I'm like, I don't think you understand what you have here. Like, if I didn't tell them that, obviously. I'm like, if you can actually use a chamberless machine with chambered bags, you're gold.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that works, quote unquote. Like, you can make it work, but it's not
the same.
Right, it's not the same.
Yeah. Even on like some of the other non-chambered machines, when it looks like the bag is like pulled tight and it's squeezing around the product, your actual vacuum percentage there may only be like 80%. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's full, but it's not. The better non-chambered units will pull like a 95% vacuum, but you can't get to that 99 or 99.9% without a chambered unit. And it does make a difference.
So all in all, they sent us 5 different vacuum sealers to test. 4 of them are chamberless. We've got like an obviously real economy one similar to the Harvest Guard.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple other ones. One is really interesting. I'm excited to try it. It's got like a locking handle.
I saw that and tinkered with that.
Yeah.
If these work and we like them, and if we end up bringing those in and having them actually manufacture them for us, I will have one of those, the locking handle ones at home.
Yep.
That hands down will be what I use.
Yeah. It's got a real nice feel to it. It's obviously well made. That locking is, I don't know, it's satisfying. Like, you're like, oh, we're good as soon as you lock it in there. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
All the other chamberless machines, even the ones from Weston that you have the clips on the side, like it feels plasticky. Like that's not a good feeling. This is crunk and it gets down. It's really, really nice. But then the chamberless machine is something that we're excited for, and I'm testing it and using it all the time now with every vacuum seal job I do.
Wait, you mean the chambered?
Oh, did I say chamberless?
You said chamberless.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. The chambered machine. I'm trying to put it through as much misery as I can to see how it does.
So other people know kind of what we're talking about. This unit that we're trying, that as long as we don't have any bad issues with it, we'll end up getting manufactured for us in bigger quantities. Right now, we just had one manufactured and sent to us to test, but it is very similar to like the Weston Pro 2500 or the VacMaster VP 215. So if you're familiar with that kind of unit, that's what we're talking about here.
More similar to the 2500 though, probably.
I mean, they're all similar. They're all a similar footprint, similar.
You don't think the VP 215 was bigger?
I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe just had a bigger base to it or something.
I don't know. I want to say there's probably not more than a couple inches difference on like the overall size of the unit. And I'm going to say that the size of bag that you can put in it is probably exactly the same.
Probably. Man, that's probably true. Yeah, I guess it was 10 by 13 was the biggest you could get in a VP. Yeah, you could get a 10 by 13 in this one. I don't know why. Maybe it was the first chambered vacuum machine I'd ever seen, let alone used. When I started working here, like I'd never made sausage, jerky. I mean, the most complex thing I cooked was homemade pasta sauce. Other than that, I was like, oh, I'll buy that at the store like everybody else. Crazy how much things have changed. But no, that does seem to be a good unit. Like I said, we are putting it through its paces, testing it out. And yeah, I'm excited to bring that in. And Austin has very graciously allowed me to name it. If we bring it in, he said I can name it whatever he wants or whatever I want.
Yeah, no, you said it right. You said it right.
Yes. That's probably.
No, but we do need to come up with a name for it. Some of the other stuff that we have manufactured for us, we don't ever get too crazy with the names, but I don't know, for some reason, vacuum sealers always have special names for them. So if we start manufacturing our own vacuum sealers, we'll have to come up with something kind of catchy for it.
The JT 2100. That sounds pretty good.
I don't know about that. What does that stand for, John?
John Tremblay.
You could have had it if you made up something else that made sense.
No, it needs to officially be mine.
It could be like the jet technology.
See, that sounds good.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's what we should call it.
I don't think so.
All right. So we're coming up obviously on holiday season. We will have, this is coming out next week. So we'll have one more episode before Christmas. So for anyone who's listening to this on the day it's released, this is probably your last day, depending on where you are, to make sure you get something in time. UPS actually released some information saying that to be assured of you getting your package.
Well,
not even assured.
As assured as you can be assured, they still won't guarantee anything right now. But
sorry, I just took a big bite of something while you were talking. I thought you were going to go longer. But no. So this will be the 21st and last day of Walton's 13 Days of Christmas. It was a awesome video to shoot. It was a lot of fun. Especially we did 2 takes. First one I felt like I nailed. Second one I kept getting all dry mouth and I was like and like just flubbing lines. I was reading off my laptop, just flubbing lines. Like,
you just said earlier that you don't have bloopers anymore.
That's fair. Sales and giveaway videos are the only ones that I ever use a script for anymore. And on the last like 5 or 6 sales, and there've been basically 1 take. So
darn. It's kind of fun to have some of the bloopers out there, but I'm sure you guys will still have something fun here for the end of the year.
We'll come up with something.
May not be bloopers, but some sort of fun video.
Oh no. You guys already showed that during a live stream. That's enough.
I don't know.
You don't need to show it again. One time was enough.
You could do something like that that's like faked and put on. I mean, because no different than what you did for the Christmas video. I mean, it was a fake and put on deal. You weren't literally doing something. It's still funny.
Yeah, but the whole point of a blooper is to...
Well, it won't be bloopers, but just something funny like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, I thought you were saying fake bloopers because that did come up. We're like, no, we can't do that. That's stupid. But no. So today's the last day of 13 Days of Christmas sale. After Christmas, we will have a New Year's sale, and then we will start our January. When are we starting New Year's sales this year? Do you know? We usually start them a couple of days ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on when we have everything ready, but I mean, we could do it anytime the week after Christmas before New Year's. I mean, It should probably be that week sometime. Yeah. That'll just be up to you guys.
So the week after Christmas is on a Friday. So the 28th would be that Monday. So we go 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st.
I'd run it through the next Monday.
Okay. And then probably do what we did last year and just run it through the rest of the month. That's what we did last year.
Oh, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone would appreciate that too.
Yeah. Oh, that's
because usually there's something bigger in there than just hey, this product's on sale. There's a free shipping coupon or a different discount or something.
Well, we've been doing some version of free shipping for the last month.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
This year's biggest challenge for me, one of the biggest challenges for me was trying to get these sales items because of stock.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's most of the people's issue here, is trying to get or keep things in stock, but trying to figure out what we might possibly have enough of or could get enough of in time was the biggest challenge to putting any of these items on stock. Yeah. And then one of our vendors just totally messed with us because I ended up having to use all these things I wanted to save for Christmas. I had to take those for Thanks Black Monday. So the sales look eerily alike.
Yeah, it kind of is what it is because things are hard to come by right now. Yeah, everything is having issues in the supply chain. We could probably do a podcast for 2 hours over supply chain issues and how it's affected us and everybody else. And then we could probably do another 2-hour one the next week. It's a nightmare right now.
I had your father on a couple of weeks ago and he talked a lot about that. I mean, it's the main thing we have going on right now.
Total. I mean, related, but off topic from everything we normally talk about here. But did you see the deal where like 1,900 shipping containers were lost off of a freighter?
Showed me that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See if I can find an image of it. If I can, we'll try and post this on the Meatgistics.com post. But it's a enormous, ridiculously huge, what they don't call them tankers, cargo ship. And it got hit by a rogue wave. Yep, that's it. They're all knocked over. There's obviously missing a ton of them. Those things are at the bottom of the Pacific and they will never be recovered. If that had happened with the grinders, so I walked into your father's office and I said something cool about the grinders. I'm like, yeah, they're almost here. And he gave me his smile and then brought that up. And I was like, I'm going to go home and never come back. Like, I'm done. I'm not working here anymore. It's cursed. But yeah, no, that's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I got more information from our UPS international rep today on some of this, and I mean, we weren't affected, obviously, but they actually, looking through stuff, no one in Kansas was affected at all. I mean, with 1,900 containers, you'd think, oh, it's got to be people everywhere. Well, I don't know, luckily or unluckily, I mean, you could look at it whichever way, but nobody in Kansas was at least on that. But because they said they've lost more containers on that than they lose over the entire like international supply chain through all the ships
On
through
that
the
one
whole
ship?
through the whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, one ship was a bigger accident than everything added up for the whole rest of the year.
Yeah, you think there's, your father was talking about this too. There's LA, San Diego, Houston, New York, and what is it? Newport News, Virginia? Or there's one other one in Virginia. There's like 5 or 6 main shipping hubs, or whatever you would call it, ports, that everything has to come in through. So we were looking at this live representation of how many ships were waiting in LA or San Diego. Can't remember. LA or San Diego. And you think, what do they have, 10,000 or 20,000?
I don't know. It's a lot.
Unbelievable number. How long it takes to unload all those. And then you've never seen The Wire, right?
No.
Well, season 2 focused on the docks of Baltimore, and so much like how they lose those in like supply chain. You know, they fall off the back of a truck, things like that. So yeah, just crazy business.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Do anything interesting for Christmas?
Hopefully not. Hopefully just a lot of chill time with family. That's all I have planned at all, is just family time.
That's good. I think that's how a lot of people feel, probably not just here. We keep thinking about it because we're all here and trying to work very hard and trying to get a lot done. But the rest of the country is probably under the exact same amount of extra stress.
Yeah.
So I hope this is a good Christmas for everybody. Is there any like specific Christmas meal you make or Christmas thing you look forward to?
Ooh, not really.
No. Okay.
I don't know. Someone in my family is probably going to hit me later. But I don't know if there's anything that's just like a super traditional food we eat, or anything like that. I don't know. The only thing like tradition wise, hanging out with family is, I mean, one, but really nothing crazy there. The candlelight service on Christmas Eve at church, like that, always try to go to that. That's one of the more traditionally funnest things there, but I don't know, just chill time.
Last year I ended up going to 2 services on Christmas, or 2 Christmas services. I went to the one at my church here, then I went up to my sister's the next day and we went to church there. At neither of those, well, no, actually they did at one. At mine, which is a very large church and they do great productions and everything, they did not sing Silent Night. And then they sang it so badly at the Catholic church up at my sister's. I'm like, I wish you would stop singing. This sounds terrible. That is my 100% favorite part of Christmas Mass. Like, had I known that they weren't going to sing it there, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
Like,
you kind of have to.
So annoyed leaving. I was like ruined Christmas.
It's not only like the most popular Christmas song, but it's like the most popular church hymn, song, whatever of all time. Everyone loves it. You have to sing and do Silent Night sometime at Christmas.
I get goosebumps listening to it. Like, seriously, I absolutely adore that song. I don't know why, other than it's obviously a pretty beautiful song. But yeah, so that would be our biggest Christmas thing. Did you see that?
No.
Patrick, thumbs down.
I thought he was doing something like important, giving us like a notification behind the scenes.
Just letting us know that he does not like Silent Night.
if they had a metal version of Silent Night.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
The loud and noisy night.
Yes. Unsilent Night. All right. So from the mailbag, we've got David Poole says, I watched Venison Snackstick video. I thought it was great. Thank you. Just had a couple of problems. Made venison snack sticks with jalapenos and Willie's seasoning. I believe my stuffing tube is too large. Had a hard time getting the casings on it. The tube size is 3/4, so I assume that's 3/4 of an inch. Also, I did not see a line going down the side of the casing at no time. But other than that, they came out great. I did 25 pounds, smoked them for about 8 hours, just trying to improve. So first of all, that's awesome, David. Welcome to the addiction. The casing, or the line that I'm talking about that goes down the casing, isn't like a straight line. It is a swirl, like a real slow swirl that goes down the entire casing. So that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for a line right down the middle. And I believe 3/4 of an inch is 19 millimeters. It's in that range.
It's almost exactly 19 millimeters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a 19 millimeter tube is never going to take a 21 millimeter. He must have had to unroll it.
Yeah.
So the casings come all, what do you call that? It's not shirred. It's
they're kind of, more or less sheared.
Okay.
Yeah.
More or less sheared. And he must have undone that and loaded it on. That must have been he did 25 pounds like that.
That would suck.
Oh, that's some patience. I would have been throwing things. For 19 or actually for 21 millimeter, a 12 millimeter stuffing tube is perfectly fine. Can you use a 13 on a 21 millimeter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So for 21 millimeter, either a 12 or a 13 millimeter stuffing tube. 19 millimeter casings, you just want to use a 12 millimeter stuffing tube. So yeah, you were right. Your stuffing tube was too big. If it's 3/4 of an inch, I'm wondering if he was stuffing off his grinder too, because that's usually
potentially.
Yeah. So sausage stuffer is definitely the way to go. It's going to make your life much easier. If you stuff 25 pounds off of a grinder while you were unrolling the casings and putting them on, I hope you had some beers with you, or like the loving support of your family cheering you on.
Yeah.
That must have been annoying.
It had to have taken forever.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for that.
Definitely not. I hope you kept the meat in the fridge right before you stuffed it, or that got pretty warm. All right. So let's talk about everything that's going on in Meatgistics.
So I assume by that, you mean a couple things. And probably the most importantly is that Team Orange is ahead of Team Blue.
He's doing something. I don't know what it is you're doing, but you're doing something.
Yeah. All I'll say is I am more actively recruiting members. I never really recruited people before.
There's a trick or something you're up to.
Nope. No tricks. No, but Meatgistics, it's got a little bit of a facelift, I guess you could say. I've been playing around with fonts and kind of having some fun with some people on conversations back and forth on what fonts look better. And I think we found one that people kind of like, although it's not the one I like the most. The one I like the most, too many people were like, oh, it's hard to read. So we found one that's a little different, looks a little more appealing, but just to kind of make it look a little different. Some different sections to things. One of the things it's not necessarily new, but I always like to bring up is the map feature.
Yep.
If on your profile, you fill out the location section, you don't have to put your address. If you do, it will map to your address. Mm-hmm. But put in just like your city and state, or put in your zip code. And then there is a map button in the navigation, and it'll show you every user on Meatgistics that has put in their information, so you can see kind of who's around you. Yep. I love that. It's awesome to see, and hopefully maybe potentially connect more locally with some of the members directly around you.
That happened with Parksider and a guy when we kind of first started Meatgistics. Some guy in Pennsylvania, and he were talking. He's like, "All right, I'll come up and do snack sticks with you." Drove up there,
but then. We also have an Android app now. If you search for Meatgistics on the Google Play Store, you can download our app and get you a little more native experience on your phone. The iPhone app is coming. I just prefer Android over iPhone, so I did the Android app first. But I will get an iPhone app out here shortly. So that I don't know. It seems like it's a pretty much 50-50 split on who's iPhone and Android. So 50% of the people are happy right now. The other 50% of you will hopefully make you happy with an iPhone app in the coming weeks or month or so.
And the forcing people to verify their account before they post.
I turned that off.
Oh, you did turn it off?
If you want, we can turn it back on, but I already found it annoying.
Okay.
Just if we could just make them, I don't know, we'll have to talk more. If we could force it on just like the first post, that'd be great. And once you approve it, like that person's approved. No, it had somebody posted, I approved it, and then they posted like replies to someone else, and I had to approve those.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I was like, this is silly.
Definitely not.
So we might still do something there, but we need to sit down and talk more on what we could do, because it'd be nice to eliminate more and more of the spam that we get out there.
I was actually going to bring that up in the last week or so. I think I've only had to delete one. Have you been deleting them?
No.
Oh, then I've only had to delete one in the last week or so. Was the other day.
That's good.
So it seems like maybe we're past that unbelievably annoying.
I did change some additional settings again.
Go ahead.
If anybody is a tech person out there and you care, you may enjoy more of this, but we use Cloudflare to sit in front of our websites. And John and I have kind of thought we've had problems with it before. And I know I've talked to you about that, and I've turned it on, I've turned it off, turned it on, turned it off. I don't think it's causing a problem, so I turned it back on. So Cloudflare helps eliminate certain people. Mm-hmm. It probably incorrectly flags some users, but most of those are international. Right. And to be honest, most of the spam is from international stuff usually. So
I feel bad because there's a ton of like HP assistants and guys who are involved in the printer industry in India who just want to learn about meat processing, and I keep deleting their account.
Yeah.
It's so bad. All right. Anything else?
Nothing else I can think of.
All right. We've had in the last 24 hours, we've had 45 new Meatgistics members. So it is growing.
If we keep up the same pace, we will more than double our membership in the next year. Yeah, it'll be crazy.
So it took forever to get from 9,000 to 10,000. It took no time at all to go from 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know I've said this numerous times, but when you offered me this job, we hadn't ever talked about it before. We hadn't ever done anything. You just knew I was looking to do something else. And I remember thinking like, all right, well, this is crazy, and it's not going to can't ever be like a full-time thing. Like, but it sounds like the most amazing job in the world. So I'm going to say yes. And here we are 4 years later, 3 years.
I don't know.
Yeah, they all blur.
I don't know.
But yeah, so growing nicely.
I do have one other thing. I just remembered. Okay. I'm going to say something, and I hope I don't have to retract my words later.
Oh.
But some people will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're a frequent user of Meatgistics, you have run across 503 errors that get very annoying.
Oh, I wouldn't do this.
They annoy others and they annoy us, and I think we have it fixed.
Yeah, it seems like it.
It has to do with what the back-end servers are doing while we're sending out digest emails, and everything is processing, and it's struggling to do things in the right order, I guess. So I changed some rules on the traffic management. We've been making some other changes on how it works, and I have not noticed any 503 errors for days now.
Nope.
In fact, when the emails are going out and traffic activity is high, it seems to be performing better than other times. I think the server is scaling better than it was, and scaling how it's supposed to. So hopefully everybody can let us know if they see any more 503 errors, but at least that headache is hopefully gone from everybody. We will see. Time will tell.
Yes, that was a huge annoyance for a while there. It was like 45 minutes every day.
Yeah, every day shutting the site down for 45 minutes.
No, but we're all good now, hopefully. So guys, if you have any comments, anything you'd like us to cover in the future, if you have anyone you'd recommend as a guest, please go ahead and email us at podcast@waltonsinc.com. Everything's still Waltons Inc., right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about?
Oh, we can.
Man, we'll save it for a future episode.
Okay.
There will be a change coming up in the future. But thanks, guys. Appreciate if you're listening on a podcast app, please leave a good review. It really does help push it out to more people. And if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, just go ahead and hit that little thumbs up button.
Yes, please do.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.